When a child's been abused by their parents to the point that they're removed and placed in foster care for their own safety, they can sometimes get lost in the court process without a voice. But for over 30 years, Court-Appointed Special Advocates, or CASA, has been a child's voice in court. And Lauren Mueller is living proof that CASA works.
When I was 7, my mom met her second husband, and he started out great, but then started to physically abuse her. And he drank a lot, and then she started to drink a lot. And then he started to abuse us, and then my mom started to abuse us. I have memories of being in a closet as a butcher knife was shoved through the door. Eventually, my mother had enough.
Lauren finally escaped from her mother's abusive husband. After more than a year of severe physical and emotional abuse, her mother packed up Lauren and her little sister in the middle of the night and drove from Ohio to Colorado. But a new place didn't mean a new life.
A move from one state to another doesn't take away all your problems, and my mother still really struggled with alcoholism. She got a DUI halfway through the week-long trip, and they said that since we didn't have any family in the area and we were just moving through, that they would let her go. And that was the first time that the system failed. When we got to Colorado, my mother went to the police station to get a hotel voucher, but she was intoxicated.
Lauren's mom was again arrested for driving under the influence, and Lauren and her sister were placed in foster care while her mom was in rehab.
As soon as my mother's rehab was done, they gave custody back to her. And that was the second time that the system failed.
After returning to her mother's care, the abuse continued.
As time went on, my mother continued to be violent with me.
And on top of the physical abuse, her mother frequently left Lauren at the home of a family friend.
There was a family friend who we started staying with, who my mother went to church with. And he had a family, a daughter, and a wife. But every once in a while, my mother would make my sister and I stay nights there. And he had a pull-out couch that I remember vividly. And I would lay on the bed, and he would come down in the middle of the night and molest me.
Lauren told her mom, but her mom didn't believe her, and it didn't stop.
Eventually, I became so angry with her that her solution was to have me medicated.
Lauren's mother took her to 2 different psychologists and medicated her to the point that Lauren pulled out her hair and picked off her skin.
It was almost like a balm for what my mom was doing, because she could throw me down the stairs and she could lock me in the basement, she could punch me in the face, but I had control over my body. And so I started to look insane, and I was placed in an inpatient mental health facility.
Lauren improved while in the facility, but was again returned back to her mother, who again medicated her.
It became clear to her that she couldn't just medicate me and make me go away, so she alleged that not only was I mentally ill, but I had been sexually abusing my little sister, which wasn't true. And since there were allegations that I had been abused as a very young child, my mother said, well, she was abused, so she's an abuser. So after being interrogated in a police room that looked like something out of a TV show, I was placed in foster care. My CASA was assigned to me. Her name was Stephanie, and I thought she was the coolest person in the universe.
Her CASA made Lauren feel empowered. She saw in Lauren her desire to help others, so she helped Lauren get a grant to clean up a railroad area, and the project made the newspaper. Her CASA championed Lauren's every achievement, and it changed the way Lauren felt about herself.
It was the first time that someone was ever proud of me in that way, that they wanted to tell other people how great I was. The most important thing about her, and I think the most important thing about the CASA program, is that CASAs are consistent presences in the lives of the children they serve. And after a year and a half, my case was closed. My mom never had to work a case plan because it was on me at the time, because I was the one with the problem.
Lauren was again returned to the care of her mother. The abuse continued, and Laura began to run away to escape her mother, often resulting in Lauren being arrested.
My mom had cut off all contact between me and my casa. She was very jealous of our closeness, and it was sad. I felt like I lost my big sister. For another few years, every week or a couple of days, I would be thrown down the stairs or punched in the face. I started to lash out. I started to be aggressive with her because I was angry. And I was bigger now, and so I could take her on, and I did. The day that I was placed in foster care again as a teenager, my mom and I went to court. My mom looked at the judge, and the judge said, what would you like to have happen now? And my mom looked at me, and she just said, I don't want her anymore. And I have never before felt so small. But a few weeks after my mother said that to the judge, I was placed with my best friend's family, who had experience in foster care. And it was the first time I'd ever spent the night in a house of a man who wasn't molesting me. It was the first time that I ever spent the night in a house with a woman who wasn't drunk in the morning.
Finally, in a loving home, Lauren graduated from high school a year early and received a full-ride scholarship to college.
I had started speaking for CASA, and at one of those speaking engagements, I met a college counselor who helped me to apply for college. And so a few months later, I got a full scholarship to Denison University. I graduated with a degree in communication in 2013. Only a few % of foster kids ever get a college degree, and only a few % ever even attempt to attend college. And I think that the main reason I was able to do that is because I knew that there was someone cheering me on. If I had not had her in my life, I would be in such a different place. And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. I wouldn't be a professional. I wouldn't have gone to college. And that's what CASA does. We, at CASA, show kids that they deserve to be loved. And it's not a small thing.
Many other children with stories similar to Lauren's, if not worse, live right here in our community. They need a champion. They need you. If you have just 5 to 8 hours a month to volunteer, you can make sure that a child's needs and feelings are heard in court. If you don't have time to volunteer, you can make a small donation. For just $15 a month, you can help us train 3 volunteers who will serve 3 to 6 children. For more information, go to achildsvoice.org or call 242-4191.